So I didn't mention this beforehand, but all 4 of those quarterbacks were in one tier for you. And that
you
tier
didn't recognize that?
was named the Young and the Reckless. I recognized it. I just didn't mention it. The Young and the Reckless. So I guess the Young would be literally Bryce Young.
Yes.
And then Anthony Richardson. And the Reckless are Jameis Winston, don't throw it to the other team, and Sam Darnold, don't throw it to the other team. It fits perfectly.
It is a little bit. There's no doubt about that. Yeah. And I think there's a lot of things into that. They all have their own little nuance of why they're reckless and what they do there. But yeah, it's a good group here, and there is potential for this group to go. Wait, there's a little more talent here that maybe has not been tapped into yet, that we haven't got to see, that they could rise up the ranks a little bit in a year.
We might not see the talent from your number 31 quarterback this year. We're still waiting to figure out what's going to happen here. For hire, this tier, it's a one-man tier. This is a arm for hire in the NFL. Your 31 quarterback
Ryan Tannehill, still a starting quarterback for the right team in the NFL. That's what I would say. This is still a starting NFL quarterback, right? If you're a Super Bowl team and you don't think you have a good backup, you should call Ryan Tannehill, because you won't miss a beat, right? I look at it like I think about the New York Jets, and I'm going, wait, Ryan Tannehill is out there and you went with Tyrod Taylor? Like, well, why? I don't understand that. Now, Tannehill, I don't know. Maybe he was waiting for the right situation, certain amount of money. I don't know what that is, right? Now, what I know about Ryan Tannehill is if he's got a system and a little talent around him, he can move the offense and play quarterback. He's at a part of his career and age right now where he can't do the above and beyond stuff as much anymore, right? He's not going to make a ton of plays with his legs. He is a little beat up, right? If people aren't open, and which they weren't a lot in Tennessee last year, especially early in the season when they were trying to figure out their offense. They couldn't run the ball. They were shitty as hell as protecting. He's not your guy that's going to make backyard plays like a Joe Burrow or some of the stars in the league right now, right? And just make it happen. That's not what he is. But you see, right, when he does have a little protection and there's somebody open just a little bit, he makes it happen every time. He does. It's just the other stuff that's not. So to me, like, yeah, if he got with the right team that can protect him a little bit in the system, I think he could really take advantage of it. And people would be like, whoa, I mean, Ryan Tannehill's good. Whoa, they're going to go to the playoffs with Ryan Tannehill. Like, yeah, I think he could still do that. But you put him on a C-plus team, he's not going to wow you, because it's not going to be wow plays, wow throws, what a scramble, what a sidearm laser. He's carrying the squad. No, that's not what he is. He's not going to do that. He's not. But if you give him a few pieces, I think he can still be surgical. He's still a very good thrower of the football. He has incredible control and accuracy over the football still too. And if people are open down the field, I love his ability to throw the ball down the field. It's just that, yeah, when he was in this year, they weren't running the ball. They weren't protecting the ball. He got a little banged up, but he's not the kind of guy that's going to make a ton of plays, making people miss and, like, still looking downfield and, like, wow, nobody was open, but he bought 4 more seconds and threw a laser to DeAndre Hopkins. That's not who he is, right? He's a little bit more your traditional version of how we used to grow up and watch quarterback play.
So the narrative around Ryan Tannehill is, I think, he was always just an average quarterback who coasted off of Derrick Henry and play action passes. And that is Ryan Tannehill erasure, because he was a former 8th overall pick.
Yep.
The only 2 quarterbacks taken before him were Andrew Luck and Robert Griffin III.
Right.
And last I checked, they're not playing anymore.
Yeah.
I mean, Ryan Tannehill might not be playing anymore, but he's still around. 6 years with Miami, last 5 with Tennessee. So I was looking at his years with Tennessee. I mean, first 3 seasons there, he was 30-13 as a starter. Now we know it's not all on the quarterback.
But like, we give everybody else credit with stuff like this. We're ready to move Brock Purdy to the top 3 quarterbacks in football because of his record. But for Tannehill, we weren't. And he gets shit on for some reason always. You go to the AFC Championship game. You go to the playoffs and win the AFC South the next year and lose a game to the Ravens and Lamar. Then next year, you're the number 1 seed. I mean, those 3 years in a row, right? I mean, and again, it's not like they were like, they weren't an offensive juggernaut like that. And I understand people questioning that.
Yeah.
But like we've always talked about, it's not that easy to play quarterback that way either.
2019, he led the league in quarterback rating, was the comeback player of the year, was a Pro Bowler. 2020, 33 touchdowns, 7 interceptions. I mean, the stat page jumps out at you. And he was so good that at one point in 2022, you tweeted, "It's 2022. Ryan Tannehill is a good quarterback."
The last time I tweeted during a game in my life.
So this is a joint collaboration between you and Pete.
Right.
Came together, and this was the playoff game.
Pete, he's my buddy, right? And Pete, Matt, Casey, they send out a lot of my tweets, right? As you know, I mean, they hear me say a thing or whatever. They go, "Hey, we're gonna," and they send me a screenshot, and I say, "Yes, that's what happened there." So I got to take some of the blame there, right? But what the context of it is, Cincinnati Bengals playoff game, right? He threw an interception early, right? And everybody jumped on him everywhere. You look at social media, he's the worst, he's the worst. And then there they were kind of coming back, and he got it going. And, I thought, like, okay, he's got it going. He's good. And Pete knows that I've kind of been a defender of him. So Pete's like, "How about I send this out?" And I said, "Yeah, send it out." Like, literally 4 plays later, interception, right? Like, another 5 minutes after that, interception again. They get upset by the Bengals and lose. It is all his fault. And we sent that tweet out during the game. So I learned my lesson there.
So Pete says that was literally the beginning of the end for Ryan Tannehill. It was like he never quite got back on track after that tweet was sent mid-game.
Yeah, that did it to him right there.
You still tweet in game, right?
I do. I guess
you're more careful. You're more careful.
You're definitely more careful. Not going out on a limb like that. And hey, listen, part of where we are with Ryan Tannehill a little bit here too is, is because of the Tennessee Titans, right? Like 2022 wasn't that bad. It's just they weren't that good. They just got rid of A.J. Brown with one of the dumbest trades ever, okay? And he had no receivers. And again, they didn't protect that well either. And he's up there in age, so he got banged up. He got hurt, right? And this year, I feel bad for him because he got to play in all the games of we're still trying to figure out how we want to approach the year, right? And we can't quite figure out what we are on offense and how we're going to play and what we're going to do here. And then he got hurt, and Will Levis, we didn't expect a lot, and of course he exceeded expectations, and because he's young, he made a few plays running and throwing, and he has a big, strong arm, and he made a few of the plays where I go, Tannehill, when there's nothing there, he's not the greatest at that. Levis was like, no, I'll move and I'll throw this laser across there and get it in there, right? And he was capable of doing that, and that's why we haven't gotten to Will Levis here on the thing yet, because he's above Ryan Tannehill. Yeah. But, he got unlucky in that aspect of where they kind of started to come together right as he got hurt and started to play better football as a team, and then he got in later in the year, and hey, he had some – they should have beat the Seattle Seahawks late in the year, right? And then, of course, he finished strong against the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Turns 36 in July. And the last couple of years has been just weird turmoil a little bit, between
the teams are
Vrabel and
right.
the Rand Carthon.
Exactly.
You don't know exactly
John Robinson
what's going on
was
there.
fired, the GM who traded away A.J. Brown, right? So it was all weird. There's no doubt about that. And I do think that was, part of the – it certainly had some effect on Ryan Tannehill.
You think Jets would be should have been.
Yeah, let's look at that right now. Let me think about this here a little bit.
Where could he go?
Because a lot of these teams
get him
have.
A team.
Well, what you realize too is a lot of these teams have good backups,
right?
We talked about, right? I mean, it's too like like let's just throw it for instance out. You go, well, hey, the Bengals are in the Super Bowl window. Get him. Well, Jake Browning's pretty good. Jake Browning was on the short list of guys that I didn't put on the top 40 that I was like, damn, Jake's a pretty good player.
I know. Get him back to Miami. Back up Tua.
Well, I thought of that too. They have Mike White.
And they got Mike White.
I know. Now, I think he's better than Mike White. That's what I will say.
So we're not waiting for Mike White on this list.
I mean, no, you're not going to get Mike White on this list. We've passed Mike White territory. I'm sorry. Let me just think. Is there anybody else here that really makes sense where I'd go, like Detroit, Jared Goff. I like Hendon Hooker.
Yeah,
right. But damn, he's a rookie. He didn't even get to really practice the whole year last year because
you got a
ACL.
playoff team,
and you got a Super Bowl team. You guys are a Super Bowl team. Like get with the times.
You're
Give
a
your
Super
team some
Bowl
respect.
I don't want to.
I mean that would be one that I would think at, right? Dallas is another one. Again, they're not in a bad spot. I know there's Trey Lance there. There's also, what the hell's his name? Came in as Cooper Rush. Thank
yeah.
you, Pete. Way to go. They have him, but of course, I think Tannehill is certainly a notch up from him.
Behind Justin Herbert is Easton Stick.
Ooh,
for
that'd
the
be another
Chargers.
one. That'd make a lot of sense. Yes, sir. That's a good one by you right there, actually. That's a really good one. In fact, that might be, the best spot available. But, I mean, Ryan Tannehill's like the guys you've talked about like last week in the pod and all that. He doesn't want to just go somewhere. He wants to go somewhere. It's like, wait, if I do play, we're going to be good and win.
Yeah.
And I've made enough money. I'm not trying to just stick around the league to be on some 2-15 football team, right? So, that's an interesting one. Is there anybody else we're missing here?
I'm sure.
I'm sure there is too.
But you're right. But the teams that have the young quarterbacks that just would roll with that aren't necessarily borderline playoff teams, they're not going to bring in Ryan Tannehill.
I don't think
Ryan
so.
might not want to go there.
He might
like
not
you
want to
said.
go there. Right. Exactly right. I look at the Bears, but they have Tyson Bagent. I think they're good. I don't know where the spot's going to be.
Yeah.
This might be have to wait for a starter to go down type of thing.
He's
for
the
Ryan
Joe
Tannehill.
Flacco of 2024.
He might
perhaps.
be. He might be. Yo, what's up? Thanks for watching, homies. You know it's the off season, but there's no off season with Chris Sims Unbuttoned. It's the NFL. It goes all year around. All right, so hit subscribe, please, to hear my thoughts on your favorite team, your favorite quarterback, and hey, how this season might unfold as we get ready for the 2024 season. We got a better picture, clearer look now that the draft is over, free agency. We know who's playing quarterback for certain teams. So, again, thanks for watching, and remember to subscribe. Peace out, homies. Check you out soon.